Jeremy and me and myself, we really roasted you on the last one.
I watched. It's okay. It's
This
okay.
is your turn, buddy. You can roast Jeremy and
Now,
Bear.
I have one goal today, and that's to get predictions spot on. If I start focusing on banter and getting people back, my head's gonna get clouded, and I'm not gonna get this right. So
This is basically like try and get this right. Yeah, this is basically like if you want to talk about this in soccer terms, it's the two teams at the bottom of the
oh
log
yeah,
battling.
it's a relegation battle, but that's what this is.
You really need to be here. They're way ahead, both of us. Like they're. What's up, guys? Welcome to it. This is the Major Players Predictions, the final Major Players Predictions show of 2021 season. Man, what a year it has been. So, yeah, guys, welcome to it. Survivor Series 2021. That's what we're talking about today. Raw versus SmackDown, as per tradition since 2016. I'm of the personal opinion it should have been the tradition every year, but hey, such a. Anyways, you got me here, the CEO of PWC, your boy Nashville, or as you know me from Kyle's PWC universe, Nash Van Dam, NVD over here. And of course, the man I'm just speaking about, Kyle, the newbie, the rookie of the major players, joining me this time. He set out AEW, but he's here with us today. And this is quite the scene, guys, because last time Vaz and Kyle were the ones sitting out, and I was here BSing with Jeremy, and we roasted Kyle and Vaz so very, very, very badly. So, but Kyle is not that kind of guy. You know, he's not guy to roast people back. So, but I'm gonna try and turn him to the dark side, guys. Don't you worry. It's gonna come.
Nash, I have one goal, and that is to make sure I am not lost. And the second I start focusing my attention on banter and giving paybacks and all those things is when my judgment gets clouded, and all of a sudden I'm not here. It's a relegation battle. You haven't mentioned this. Two of us are sitting at the bottom of the pile.
Let the people just settle in.
My mind is just focused there. But I want to ask you: at what point am I not the rookie in this team? I feel like I've had one less appearance. Well, okay, now two. To be fair, I missed the last one.
Yeah.
2 less appearances than everybody else. But yeah, the only reason I'm at the bottom of the pile is because I missed Money in the Bank. I'm convinced. Like, I'm one down. No, I gave some predictions for the last one. It was a terrible prediction. I think I maybe got a point or two off it, but yeah, it didn't help the cause.
To your credit, I only got into wrestling from Money in the Bank onwards again. Like, from March 2020, I was completely on a wrestling diet. I didn't have time for it. Like, I wasn't going off wrestling because I wanted to. I got off because I didn't have time for it. I started getting back into it just recently, and I had to figure out who were the heels and faces again and what the trajectory of the storylines were going before I could get points. So that's why I'm behind Jeremy and Baz in that essence. So, and I mean, like, for you to just come in after Money in the Bank and just be right behind me, or almost sometimes overtaking me and then behind me again, that's to your credit, because you're doing quite well for yourself, because somebody just jumped in at the second major players. So, I mean,
thanks. Yeah. To be fair, I don't watch AEW either, so
yeah,
that name sounds cool.
The what?
I'm just thinking that name sounds cool. So yeah, he or she is going to win a match, and that's how I've been treating AEW. So it's okay. We're back in my territory, Survivor Series land. You know, there are many ladies on the card, so I'm sure I can buckle down and get some points here. Anyway.
So guys, basically, if you don't know, this is basically the battle of the bottom of the log in soccer terms, because the two of the lowest points are just battling it out right here to see who can get the points and not be eating the Reaper chip at the end of the day. Let's be honest with each other. Neither myself or Kyle are going to win this one. We're far behind Jeremy and Vaz, for that matter. We're just trying to not lose and eat a very extremely hot chip. I personally don't mind eating the chip. I mean, I'm from Durban in South Africa, and I am an Indian man. I eat volcanoes on a daily basis, so it's I. So
I just don't want to pay for that chip. Did you see how expensive it is?
Yeah, that's also my thing. I don't that's going up as well. So guys, if you're watching this video right now, remember to smash the like button on this, subscribe to Pro Wrestling Central if you haven't already, and please, share this video. Let's get as much people about who love wrestling to watch this as possible. I'm going to do a very bad Baz impression here and say, tell your lovers, haters, parents, grandparents, lovers, haters, neighbors, friends, whoever, tell them about Pro Wrestling Central, get them to join the channel, and let's talk about wrestling. Comment down in the section below. Comment section below. Let us know your predictions, what you're predicting for Survivor Series. I know we've got still like a week of build-up to go. By the time this probably gets out, you've probably seen Raw. So the go home Raw before Survivor Series. So I mean that's how it's going. But I got Kyle here, or as I like to call him, Kyle O'Reilly, and we're gonna do the predictions.
When have you ever called me Kyle O'Reilly? What is that?
All right.
As I like to call him. Okay.
Kylo Ren. Going to call Kylo Ren instead. I don't know.
Just Kyle's fun.
Here we go. So I'm going to run down the card real quick. And I'm going to add a few things here. There's going to be some extra bonus point things that we can actually score. And I'll tell you why in a second. Let me run through the card. So here's the thing about the card, right? There's 4 official matches that have been announced. There's 2 that we're expecting based on speculation, based on previous Survivor Series. It's always champs versus champs. So we got on the card announced, we have champion versus champion, the WWE champion from Raw, Big E, taking on the WWE Universal champion from SmackDown, the Tribal Chief Roman Reigns with Paul Heyman. We also have another champion versus champion match. We got the Raw Women's Champion, the man, Becky Lynch, taking on the Queen from SmackDown. She is the SmackDown Women's Champion, Charlotte Flair. And then, of course, we have the traditional 5-on-5, both the men's and the women's Survivor Series traditional elimination match. On the men's side, for Team Raw, we have Seth Rollins, Finn Balor, Kevin Owens, Rey Mysterio, Bobby Lashley. Basically an all-star top right there, taking on Team SmackDown's Drew McIntyre, Jeff Hardy, King Woods, Happy Corbin, and TBA. I'm assuming Madcap Moss could also be part of the team, but I think he's just going to be there as a mascot for Happy Corbin. But like I said, there's a TBA here. Now, I'm going to bring this up for the Raw Women's Championship also. I mean, the Raw Women's Survivor Series elimination match. We're going to add a prediction of who we think could be added in that spot. And if that person does get added, we get a point, an extra point. Also, we're going to be determining not only which team, whether Team Raw or Team SmackDown will win, but and the bonus point for if we get right who we think will be the sole survivor on that team, or which members of the team will be remaining. If we get one or more correct, it's a bonus point in our favor. For the 5-on-5 Women's Survivor Series Tag Team Traditional Elimination Match on Team Raw, we got Bianca Belair, Rhea Ripley, Liv Morgan, Carmella, and Queen Zelina taking on from Team SmackDown, the boss, Sasha Banks, taking on Shayna Baszler, Shotzi, Natalya, and TBA. It was originally Aaliyah that was in the spot, but as we saw on SmackDown, Sonya Deville removed her. I have my own predictions about who's going to take that spot. I'm sure you do too. So when we get to that, obviously talk about that and which team and sole survivor. The 2 matches that are not announced but are speculated and expected to be added: another champion versus champion, United States champion David Priest taking on the Intercontinental champion from SmackDown, Shinsuke Nakamura, and the SmackDown Tag Team Champions, Jimmy and Jay, the Usos from the Bloodline, taking on the Raw Tag Team Champions, RK Bro, that is Randy Orton and Matt Riddle. So, Kyle, I've run down the matches on the card. Before we get to the predictions and dissect each match and talk about them, give me your overall thoughts about Survivor Series 2021. Overall, looking at the card from top to bottom.
Yeah, sure. Look, with pay-per-views, it's generally one of 2 things. It's either, a pay-per-view based around the finality of certain storylines, or it's a pay-per-view based around just build. And generally, pay-per-views that are big hits are those that can find a nice mesh of the 2. And what we're seeing is a very lackluster, underwhelming build to this pay-per-view, to be honest. I mean, and this is it's so sad because that's such a good opportunity after, Crown Jewel with this new premiere episodes of SmackDown and Raw to really just focus without rushing into any storylines on the actual show. Focus this on brand warfare before we go our separate ways going into this new year. In January, and I'm I still think there's a lot of matches on the card that have the potential to be very very good, and WWE, even when they don't build very well, still find a way to make it feel special and important. So I'm upset and I'm a bit annoyed by the build, but I see this as a building pay-per-view. A lot of the things on the card are going to be used to sort of project certain superstars' parts going into the season of WrestleMania, or the road to WrestleMania, that is, at the Rumble. And so yeah, I'm okay with it. I mean I'll give my commentary on all the matches as we go on, but yeah, I'm open-minded as to what I'm going to see this weekend.
Yeah, I also just failed to mention that I do have actually Baz's predictions here, and when we do get to the particular matches, I'll have to, read them out for them. Just to make it a last one. Jeremy unfortunately did not send me any predictions, so I mean, he's way at a point. He doesn't need it. He really doesn't care. He's won this anyways. But yeah, I mean, I agree with you on the bull time. It feels like they didn't want this pay-per-view to happen. Almost seems like it's a pay-per-view in their way. Like they're just doing it for the sake of it being Survivor Series. And there was an article that I read many years ago, back in like 2010, where Vince McMahon was considering scrapping the pay-per-view. But due to, obviously, there was a big, outpour of, fans saying don't cancel it, then he just decided to go ahead with it, keep it on as pay-per-view. And I'm disappointed that look, a lot of people, how do I put this? Okay, you and myself, right? We grew up watching the Ruthless Aggression era. We grew up with Raw and SmackDown being their own brand, standalone, doing their own reviews, own champions, and then they clashed once before, like Survivor Series 2005. That I felt was a way to boost SmackDown's credibility as a second-tier brand and something that's credible. But they should have kept it as an ongoing theme, I feel, since 2005, going forward every year. Because now it feels like they're only doing it because in 2016 they had resurged the new brand split of Raw and SmackDown, and that's what they kept it going as a tradition since then. Even though in years past, I'd say 2019 was good. We had the addition of NXT. The 2020, 2018, they had title matches instead of champion versus champion, which is what we as fans expect to see when it comes to this particular situation. But, such is life. Things happen. But I'm glad they're keeping the Raw versus SmackDown theme of Survivor Series. But the draft had an awkward placement in the sense it was too close to Survivor Series.
Yeah.
Growing up during the Ruthless Aggression era, even not so long ago, the very first, when they redid the brand split in 2016, the brand split usually happens either after WrestleMania or after SummerSlam. This is way too close to Survivor Series. Now that you've seen guys competing on one brand, now participating on another brand, it's hard to believe that Seth Rollins, who's been on SmackDown for over a year, is now fighting on the side of Raw. It just feels a bit awkward in my opinion. Same with Finn Balor. He was on SmackDown, now he's on Raw. Kevin Owens was on SmackDown, now he's on Raw. It feels like they're fighting for the sake of fighting and not because they truly want to believe in that brand.
Yeah.
So I think the placement of the draft really threw this off, and the build time is very short. They're not even promoting Survivor Series. If you've been watching WWE, there's more focus on other storylines, and it feels like they're looking more towards WWE Day One pay-per-view more than they're looking towards the Survivor Series. They canceled TLC, and I think Vaz mentioned this before. They canceled it because they wanted to have more build time for Day One. Fair enough, but TLC is such a great pay-per-view. We look forward to that pay-per-view. But I feel like TLC is diluted in recent years because TLC has become just one TLC match on the entire pay-per-view, just like Extreme Rules. Extreme Rules was one Extreme Rules match on the entire pay-per-view, whereas before, we'd have Extreme Rules matches, Force Count Anywhere, street fights. You name it, it was there. They had multiple extreme type matches, multiple tables, ladders, and chairs matches on the pay-per-view. Now they're just having one of each. So whatever, if they cancel it, I'm not that hurt about it. But we're going to cover WWE Day One when we get to that in December. I'm just bummed out that they're not giving Survivor Series enough build time, because now you've got a whole December to go just building for one pay-per-view at the beginning of January. and this pay-per-view is just going to be, it feels like they're just doing it for the sake of doing it. Like I
Yeah.
said, that's just my opinion on it. I don't know what Vaz's thoughts on it because he's just giving me his predictions. But I mean, let's just jump right into it. I'll
Please.
start off. Let's start off with the two expected matches before we get to the official card. Let's do the tag team division, right? You got the Raw Tag Team Champions, RK Bro, taking on the SmackDown Tag Team Champions, the Usos. So take the floor. Let's hear what you got to say, your prediction. Thoughts.
Sure. I think RK Bro can take a loss and recover a lot better than the Usos can take a loss in such a high spot. I mean, considering the fact that the Bloodline just feels and are expected to keep winning as per our tribal chief, I feel like the Usos will be expected to win this. You know, we might start to see shades of an RKO breakup, or RK Bro breakup, that is. And it we're better than to, you know, have them in a match against someone they're not really feuding with. Without saying too much, the Usos have got to win this match, I rate, for just storyline continuity, and just to give RK Bro that first sort of step into the next phase of their story.
Yeah. Also, Vaz's prediction for this was the Usos, and I'm sticking with him. And I'm pretty sure Jeremy, if he was here, would agree with us. The Usos need the win here. They cannot lose. The Bloodline, they need to keep that streak going. In fact, Vaz mentioned it the other day. The only loss that Roman Reigns has had thus far was to King Woods by disqualification on SmackDown. He's not been pinned. He's not been submitted since he won or returned last year at SummerSlam 2020. So I don't see the Usos losing. They need to keep this winning streak going into WrestleMania. And if there's anywhere that Roman Reigns is going to drop the title, Usos could drop the title, it's in WrestleMania season, and not before that, not after that. It has to be there. So yeah, I'm going with Usos for the win. And maybe, just maybe, this is just my mind working, that AJ Styles and Omos, or another tag team on Raw that is really gunning for the tag titles on Raw, could cost RK Bro the win here. Because I don't see them losing clean. It will just, just besmirch their whole outlook going forward. You know, that strong build that they've had so far. So yeah, I believe we're all going for the Usos on this one. Moving on to the second speculated match we have from Raw, the United States champion Damian Priest taking on SmackDown's Intercontinental Champion Shinsuke Nakamura. I'm not
You're not Rick Boogs.
So yeah, your thoughts on this mid-card title?
So I don't know if you're tactically asking me to go first, because in terms of the game we're playing, if you just pick the same guys that I pick, I come last. So I will indulge you in this one. But as we start moving up towards the card, you're going to have to go first every now and again, Nash. I'm just saying. Okay. If you had
you're going to have to go first with you on the women's ones. I know that for a fact.
Deal. All right. So if you had to ask me this question about a potential Damian Priest versus Shinsuke Nakamura match maybe 3 weeks ago, I would have said Damian Priest, easy, 100%. He's on a hot streak. He needs the win. Shinsuke can bounce back. But as I said at the top of the show, this feels more of a build show than a finality show. And I really, really, really have been enjoying this feud between Damian Priest and Dominic Dijakovic. I learned the name.
T-Bar.
T-Bar. So I believe that we can do without the shenanigans, but I would not be surprised if we did see T-Bar getting involved in this match. I am done picking based on speculation on what I want to see happen. I'm going to go and pick based on what I believe is going to happen, just because I need to shore up the points. So with a heavy heart, I'm going to say Damian Priest wins. But if I watch this match and I see Shinsuke wins because of a interruption, I'm going to be kicking myself. So yes, Damian Priest wins, continues his streak. He's going to lose this championship only to someone worthy.
Yeah, I'm actually gonna go with. Let me just start off by saying, right, Survivor Series has always to me seemed like a building pay-per-view, because this is sort of like where they start formulating the road to WrestleMania. This is where they start placing the pavings on the road, to get to WrestleMania. That's why I've always viewed this as the beginning of wrestling, not Royal Rumble. Yeah, Royal Rumble is the first stop on the road to WrestleMania. Survivor Series is where it all begins, in my personal opinion at least.
Sure.
And I'm glad you learned the name Dominik Dijakovic. I liked that name better than T-Bar. T-Bar sounds like some freaking Saturday morning cartoon character. You know, I'm not a fan. I liked Dijakovic better. In fact, even if he was Dijak, Chris Dijak, like he came from the indie scene, I would have been okay with that. He's a spectacular performer. It is an absolute crime for the fact that he's not showcased on the main roster as well as he was in NXT.
Yeah.
If you go back and you watch Dominik Dijakovic versus Keith Lee, any of their matches from NXT, you're going to see how spectacular of a talent those two are. And for Keith Lee to get released and Dijakovic to be treated the way he is, I'm not a fan, but such is life. I think that Apollo Crews, who is currently in a feud with Shinsuke Nakamura over the Intercontinental Champion, is going to cost him the win, and that's how Damian Priest is going to win. It's not going to be a clean win for Priest, in my opinion. I think Apollo Crews is going to cost Nakamura, and there's going to be an altercation at ringside with Brooks and General Aziz. I am not a fan of these names. I am not Apollo's fakest Nigerian accent I have ever heard in my entire life. Okay, General Aziz, he doesn't look anything like me. Okay, Aziz is a Muslim name. He looks nothing like me. Just keep him as Baba Tunda. That was his name. Keep him that way. Apollo Crews came into WWE with an American accent. He is an American. How is anyone believing this fake Nigerian accent?
No one is.
That Nigerian drum match with freaking what's his name, Biggie last year. That was a joke, an absolute joke. I couldn't sit through it. I had to fast forward to the match. It annoyed the heck out of me. Like it's when Kofi Kingston lost his Nigerian accent, and all of a sudden now he's from Ghana, Africa, but before he was from Kingston, Jamaica. Come on, guys. WWE, learn some consistency. That's my rant. Priest for the win. Nakamura loses thanks to an interference from Apollo.
Yep.
So I think let's see what Vaz has to say about this. Yeah, he's going with Priest too. So I think we're all going for a Priest win. And who cares what Jeremy thinks? Anyways, moving on to the main card. Now, this is what's officially announced. We're going to do a match that I know you're looking forward to first and foremost. Champion versus champion. Raw Women's Champion, the man, Becky Lynch, taking on the Queen from SmackDown, Charlotte Flair, the SmackDown Women's Champion. Champion versus champion, Raw versus SmackDown Women's World Titles on the line, Kyle. Oh, not on the line, but champion versus champion.
Yep.
You are a big ambassador of the women's division. Take the floor.
You said it, not me. But look, I'm. If there's any match that I'm like underwhelmed by in terms of its build, it's this one. I mean, not to be blasphemous, but when we go 10 years into the future and we look back at the careers of Becky and Charlotte, for this generation of people who are watching it, should and actually might be on the same level as when we would look back and see a Rock versus Austin. These two are the top tier talent when it comes to women's division, or the women's division just in general. And seeing the spat that we had, a couple of weeks ago, should have fueled this. They should have, yes, been focusing on what they have got going on within their shows, but taking jabs at each other on social media, within and amongst the actual shows itself. I look at this and I wonder how it is Charlotte Flair got away with what she did. But I also think, part of me feels that Vince McMahon maybe pulled her into the office and said, listen, I've seen this 100 times with 100 top superstars over the years. I'm okay with this. You relax. Don't worry. Keep doing you. You're a star on my show. I think Charlotte Flair takes the win here. Becky Lynch can recover a little bit better than Charlotte can because Becky Lynch is Becky Lynch. She's lost before. And I think we've seen the two of them face each other many, many, many times. The last time they were in the ring together, I think we had a Becky win. It's time to write the new chapter in this story. Charlotte Flair takes the win. They go their separate ways, and we will see them feud. We will see them feud at some point over the next decade or so. But yeah, Charlotte clean. Charlotte clean.
Yeah, this is like on the level of Rock and Boston, because you've got the two top tier women's superstars, not just even champions, but two top tier women's superstars in WWE. And today, I mean, when Becky Lynch, Charlotte Flair, Sasha Banks, and Bayley came up from NXT, the four horsewomen in NXT, we all knew they were going to be groomed to be the big star. Just like when the Shield came up, Seth Rollins, Ambrose, and Roman Reigns, we knew they were being groomed to be the top stars, and they are in the men's division. They are the top stars. The same way Lynch, Flair, Banks, and Bayley are the top stars of the women's division. And the crazy thing about this is, and we've seen this many times in the past, Lynch and Flair are both going into this as heels. They're both heels on their respective shows. This is basically like two heels going at it to just prove who's the better woman. It's not a battle of good versus evil in this one. It's just two of the top women going at it. And you've got Liv Morgan on the Raw side coming after Lynch on her champion. You've got Toni Storm on SmackDown side coming after Flair and her title. Like, this is the most premier that you could ever get in Survivor Series champion versus champion women's history.
Yeah.
We only saw this once before. No, we've seen this many times before. But like the one that stands out for me is when Brock Lesnar took on Daniel Bryan at Survivor Series a couple of years back. Both were heels, but it seemed like Bryan was being booed and Lesnar was being cheered. And I got a feeling a similar thing's going to happen here, where Lynch is actually going to get cheered more than Flair. And that's just my personal opinion. I just see that trajectory. Lynch is, even as a heel, more liked than Flair is. For some reason or the other, they're always on that two opposite ends of the spectrum. Who's going to win this? Tough call. Tough call. I've never really thought about this match up until this point. So if I was to be Vince McMahon, I would obviously go with, and I think I'm going to piss you off with one of our.
You're going to say Charlotte, aren't you?
Blonde brigades. Let's just put it that way. I know you love blonde women, right? But let's be honest, in WWE history, a lot of the blonde women have been treated more fairly than the non-redheads and brunettes and other colored women. When you're getting pissed off, calm the hell down, take another sip of whatever you're sipping on over there. I'm not going to say Charlotte Flair for the win. I'm going to say Becky Lynch. Because Becky Lynch needs the win more than Charlotte Flair, because Charlotte Flair can always be on top. She can always bounce back. And look, I'm reading Vaz's prediction. He's here with me. He's saying Becky Lynch as well. So we're all on the same page. Becky Lynch for the win. Charlotte Flair, who cares about you?
Can I add something? Quick sticks. If this were the beginning of the Major Players Prediction season, my prediction would not have been Charlotte Flair. My prediction, and I just want to put it out there because I'm going to be kicking myself if I see this happen, but Alexa Bliss returns to attack Charlotte Flair and cost Charlotte Flair the match is what my prediction would have been if I wasn't fighting to get points. I just want to say that. Bliss on the quad. I
was waiting for the Alexa Bliss. I thought it was going to be the women's traditional Survivor Series elimination match, but it looks like you're going in.
No. Bliss is in the main event. She is not worried about that nonsense down on the couch. She's main event here. Yeah, like I said, Bliss would have returned, attack Charlotte because Lily. It's been so soon, and we haven't even mourned the death of Lily. Let me say that. So I would have had Bliss come back, attack Charlotte. Bliss. Becky wins. Charlotte lost because of Alexa Bliss, and then we move on with our lives, protecting both superstars, and we get our Bliss back. So, but anyway, Charlotte wins just because I need the points.
I'm so glad I don't have to sit through another Alexa Bliss love letter on camera like you did a couple of.
Not yet. Wait till she's champ.
Oh God, I can only imagine WrestleMania season.
She's gonna win the Rumble.
Major Players 2022 season, you're going all Alexa Bliss into WrestleMania, aren't you?
Yes.
So, moving on, the other champion versus champion singles match, we have the Raw WWE champion Big E taking on the WWE Universal Champion from SmackDown, the Tribal Chief, the head of the table, Roman Reigns. I'm going to go first on this one.
Please.
I let's let me be honest. I started watching both Big E and Roman Reigns back in 2012 in NXT. They both started off there. I liked Big E, was never a fan of Roman Reigns. And not because the crowd booed him and I followed suit. No, 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 no.
Sorry.
He is this big muscle guy that Vince McMahon sees as the next John Cena, as the next Rock, as the next Hulk Hogan, the face of the company, right?
Hmm.
I never liked him for the fact that I just think he was manufactured in his push. He had a good talent. My favorite Roman Reigns spot has to be when he goes off the ropes, flies over and clears the ropes and dives down onto his opponent on the floor. That's my favorite spot of Roman Reigns. Why? Obviously, everyone knows me. I like the high flying spots. That's why I liked that one spot of Roman Reigns. Other than that, he was very shaky on the mic when he first started. Let's be honest. He didn't put on the best promos. He was a very stiff wrestler. The only Royal Rumble where anybody wanted Roman Reigns to win was the one that Batista won in 2014, and it was down to Reigns and Batista. Everyone was cheering for Reigns to win, myself included, because nobody wanted to see Batista win that Royal Rumble. And that'll go down in history as the only time Roman Reigns as a face was cheered.
Yeah.
We all wanted him to turn heel. And even though I was on a diet from wrestling for over a year, when I heard that Roman Reigns turned heel, I was smiling from ear to ear because that is the Roman Reigns I wanted. I wanted a Roman Reigns heel managed by Paul Heyman, a man who is a master on the mic, a master when it comes to thinking in the wrestling world. I liked Roman Reigns as a heel, and let's be honest with each other, Roman Reigns is going to win this one. Guaranteed, no doubt about it. Roman Reigns is winning at Survivor Series. Big E does not need the win. He doesn't need a win. He's not going to win because Big E doesn't need the win. He can actually keep his credibility. Roman Reigns is the one that needs to win. He needs to keep that streak going and alive going into WrestleMania season because I still wholeheartedly believe that whoever Roman Reigns faces at WrestleMania is the person that's going to take the title from Roman Reigns. We originally thought it would be The Rock, but I think the reports came out recently that The Rock is actually, booked for filming, so we might not see him. Or there could just be a work. He could just be working the fans, and he could still appear at WrestleMania and do a whole storyline going into it. We don't know, but I mean, I'm going for Roman Reigns with the win. And it's the same with Vaz, Roman Reigns for the win. I'm pretty sure if Jeremy was here, he'd say the same thing. But let's hear what you have to say about this match.
I mean, I want to start with the whole issue of The Rock first. I mean, it's been Rock 25. We've been seeing so many Rock things on Instagram. Jeez, they flood that thing. And I know that they're saying The Rock is reported to be filming, but I mean, if you look back at the way they treated John Cena, all the dirt sheets were saying he's busy, he's not going to be there, and then he shows up. Lesnar's done for a while. He's not even looking at this. Lesnar shows up. So, again, I mean, and I would love to see it. Roman Reigns, win or lose, just standing in the ring and The Rock's music hits, for him to return at Survivor Series and just a stare down, I'd be okay with that. So I wouldn't write off the possibility. But now back to the match. For me, predicting Roman Reigns matches has been very similar to like my experience at casino roulette tables. You see the ball keeps landing on red, 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 and you keep thinking, all right, it's black, and keep chucking your money at black and black and black, and it keeps falling red. And at this point, I'm tired of losing points because I'm predicting against Roman Reigns. So I'm going to say Roman wins. Like you're saying, Big E can take the loss and move forward. I thought this whole New Day angle was going to be playing into this because we've been seeing Roman up against, especially King Woods. But you're right. This would be silly for Roman to be losing here by DQ or anything along those lines. So Roman wins. Maybe The Rock shows up, maybe he doesn't. But let's move on. I would have loved for this to have had more build. But they slept on this feud. They slept on it. They could have done so much more. But hey, maybe Monday Night Raw is going to show us something different and we get a little bit more heat. But in no world do I see Big E winning this match.
Yeah, I think we're all on the same page when it comes to Roman Reigns winning.
Mm.
And like you mentioned about The Rock, I think I don't see Rock coming back at Survivor Series. If there's any better place for The Rock to come back, it has to be at the Royal Rumble, especially after Roman Reigns probably slays his latest victim and wins at the Royal Rumble in the main event. And Roman Reigns is standing tall. He grabs the mic. Here's some fantasy booking for you. He stands tall with the title, grabs the mic, and says, whichever town they're in, I forgot what town Royal Rumble is going to be in, but he could be like, acknowledge me.
Mm.
And we hear, if you smell what the Rock is cooking, and the Rock comes right down the ramp, and he comes face to face with Roman Reigns. They're standing in the center of the ring, and there's a WrestleMania sign up there, and the Rock looks at it, Roman Reigns looks at it, and they look back at each other. Rock points at it, and Roman Reigns holds up the title, and there we go. Our main event for WrestleMania set. That will be so freaking awesome if that happens, dude. And like you said, it could be a work. I mean, we all thought John Cena was busy. The man came back. He had a great match. He didn't lose. Sorry about that, but he didn't win. He lost. But yeah, that could be a great way for The Rock to come back via the Royal Rumble. Moving on, we've got 2 matches left. We have the 5-on-5 Women's Traditional Survivor Series Elimination match. You're going first on this one. Let me just run down the competitors for you. On Team Raw, we have Bianca Belair, Rhea Ripley, Liv Morgan, Carmella, and Queen Zelina. And on Team SmackDown, we have Sasha Banks, Shayna Baszler, Shotzi, Natalya, and TBA. So for this one, Kyle, I want to know which team you think is winning, who is going to be the added person on SmackDown, and who you think will be the surviving members on the team you think is going to win.
Yeah, I see Monday Night Raw, 100% clear. I mean, I just want to say, though, firstly, Nash, we are getting 10 entrances in this match. 10 women are popping their music, lights going, graphics going, walking down to the ring, and I'm so excited thinking about that. I mean, on SmackDown, we saw Sonya Deville with her team, and they all looked like really cool and really different. And I mean, this is what I've always loved about the women's division. So I'm super hyped for this match. Whether the wrestling is bad or not, the entrances alone and the finish is going to make it just worth it for me. I see Monday Night Raw winning. This is too much happening on SmackDown. There's way too much drama, and it's easy to explain why some of the SmackDown women could potentially lose. I see Shotzi being one of the first few eliminated from this match, getting super upset. Maybe Sasha Banks waves at her or laughs at her. Maybe takes out Sasha. Sasha gets pinned. Then you've got Natalya, who's weak and shouldn't even be in these matches anymore, to be quite honest. And then you can get a valiant effort, from Shayna Baszler and whomever is that, sort of next replacement. But yeah, Monday Night Raw wins. I think that a lot of their superstars seem to be on the same sort of level. I know we do have feuds with Liv, and then Queen Zelina and Carmella. But I've got Raw winning, and my 3 survivors, I've got 3 standing atop of this. Bianca Belair, Rhea Ripley, and Liv Morgan, all 3 survive until the end. This should be quite an easy match, filled with a lot of shenanigans.
Yeah, I'm on the same page with you. Although you did miss one thing.
Yes.
Who do you think is going to be the added person on SmackDown?
I would have loved to say Xia Li. Again, if this pay-per-view were 6 months before and I wasn't fighting for points, I would have said Xia Li, just because I want to see her debut. But I think Sonya Deville gets into this match and is probably the reason, Naomi coming and interrupting is probably the reason why we see the likes of Shayna and Sonya being eliminated. So, yeah, I think Sonya just inserts herself in and we move on.
I think I've seen you do predictions for the last few major players, and I think that you mainly predict in the sense of fantasy booking, like what you would like to see rather than what could potentially happen in Vince McMahon's mind. So I think that's why you would have picked Xia Li, but you're going with Sonya Deville, which is what most of us, I think, are going to go with. She will insert herself into this match on the upcoming SmackDown episode. And yeah, like you said, SmackDown, too much drama. Like you got Naomi, Shayna Baszler, and Sonya Deville in their own little tiff. You got Sasha Banks and Shotzi in their own little tiff. And then Natalia, I don't know why she's there. She has no business whatsoever on the scene. I would put Naomi there, but then I understand that we have a storyline between Sonya and Naomi. We still don't know why she doesn't like Naomi. I'm sure that'll get revealed somewhere down the line. And I'm pretty sure it's going to be some BS backstage locker room story that, oh, when I came in, Naomi treated me like trash and she told me I'd never succeed. That kind of BS that they normally go with.
Mm.
But yeah, I think SmackDown's definitely going to lose because of their internal politics. It takes me back to Survivor Series 2016 when Dean Ambrose and AJ Styles were feuding and they cost, AJ Styles cost Dean Ambrose to get eliminated. I think the same thing is going to happen between Banks and Shotzi. Similar situation with the Baszler and Sonya Deville. And Naomi's going to get involved one way or the other. Natalia, I see, is the one being eliminated first. She's not going to last right till the end. And I think if I look at the Raw side, like I know I said Raw would win, but I don't see Rhea Ripley lasting right to the end. I could see Bianca Belair and Liv Morgan and Queen Zelina being the three that could possibly last. But I think, in my mind, there's only going to be two sole survivors on Team Raw. That's going to be Liv Morgan and Queen Zelina. The reason being, they need the credibility more. Bianca Belair's been in the title scene. She needs to go to the back of the line. Rhea Ripley's WWE Women's Tag Team Champion. She doesn't need any credibility. Carmella's the most beautiful woman in the WWE, according to Corey Graves. So she doesn't need it either. Okay. Liv Morgan needs that credibility because she's facing Becky Lynch for the Raw Women's Championship next. And Queen Zelina's the queen. She can't be seen with a loss this soon after winning the crown because then Dewdrop would have something to say about it. So, and I mean, on your side of entrances, the entrances are going to be cool. 10 entrances all at once, even in the men's match, which we're going to talk about now. But there have been times where Raw and SmackDown have their teams enter on just their own. On the theme song of the show that they're on. I hope that's not the case because I would really like to see that, those entrances separately. Moving on to the final match which we're going to talk about here, the 5-on-5 men's traditional Survivor Series elimination match. We have Team Raw, that is Seth Rollins, Finn Balor, Kevin Owens, Rey Mysterio, and Bobby Lashley with MVP versus Team SmackDown, that's Drew McIntyre, Jeff Hardy, King Woods, Happy Corbin, and TBA with Madcap Moss. So same principle. And I'm going to let you go first on this one as well.
No.
You don't want it? You want me to go first?
Yes.
So you can copy my answers, basically.
Whatever, I'm telling you, whatever you're saying, I'm going the opposite direction because I don't know what to say about this match.
So what's the point of going first in here?
Well, I've gone first. If that helps you, I've gone first. So whatever you say, I'm going against. It's just
the things we need to talk about is who's going to win, which team's going to win, who's going to be the added person on SmackDown, and who will be the sole survivor. So I'll go first. I'll be man enough to go first. Team Raw's winning this one because Team SmackDown doesn't have that strong stars. I look at their card; they're weak. You got Drew McIntyre, who's just lost to Big E, bottom of the card. Jeff Hardy, why? King Woods, meh. Happy Corbin, who cares? And TBA, I don't know who from SmackDown could fill that. Maybe Kofi Kingston, and then you could have the New Day in this match. It's but I honestly thought it would be Madcap Moss. Him and Corbin are sort of like in an alliance in a tag team. It would work. So I'm probably not going to get much points by saying this, but I'm going to go with Madcap Moss being added. But it's definitely going to be Team Raw. Just stronger stars. And look at this. You got Seth Rollins and Kevin Owens here and Finn Balor. They've almost always been in Survivor Series elimination matches. Rey Mysterio and Bobby Lashley were in the very first Survivor Series elimination match, Raw versus SmackDown, way back in 2005. So this is an all-star cast for me. That's why I'm going with Team Raw for the win. And for who the sole survivors will be, I'm going with just Rollins, and Lashley, and maybe Owens. But Rollins and Lashley will be the last two on Team Raw. I don't see, but Lashley could get eliminated because of a tip with Rey Mysterio. Dominic Mysterio comes out and costs Lashley to get pinned or eliminated by a count out. And then we have Rollins as the sole survivor on Raw. That's just my predictions. So you can go opposite direction.
Yes, I'm going the opposite direction. But now, because I actually believe it, SmackDown. Yes, SmackDown wins. I mean, sole survivor. Well, actually, my TBA is Sami Zayn. I like him coming into this match and causing a ruckus. Whenever we see Zayn and Owens in the same ring, I like that story just keeps getting continued. I don't think Sami Zayn lasts very long in this match, but yeah, SmackDown
Who's
wins.
getting eliminated by Jeff Hardy in that match on SmackDown?
He'll find a way in. He'll find a way in. He's
okay.
Yeah, he'll find a way in. I mean, who else are we gonna put there? Apollo Crews? No, man. Put Sami Zayn in this match and let's move on. Sole Survivor, I've got one and just one. Drew McIntyre, because I see it somehow playing Bobby Lashley and Drew McIntyre, the last two in the ring, and Drew finally gets his win over Bobby and moves on. I mean, Drew's been having these open challenges and just beating everybody. Maybe one of the victims that he's had, maybe someone like a Ricochet or a Sheamus could be our TBA. But I think, SmackDown wins. Drew needs the win. Out of everybody in this match, I think Drew McIntyre needs the win. To be that sort of transition feud for Roman going into the road to WrestleMania, I think, SmackDown wins. Either this is gonna make or break it because there's 3 points here. All right, there's 3 points here between us that could go either way. So that's where I'm headed. But don't change your mind.
Something you mentioned, I'm not changing my mind, but something you mentioned actually triggered something in my head. Mustafa Ali has been going around in recent weeks talking about how he's been held down because his name is Mustafa Ali. That could actually play a role, and he could actually say, it's because I am Mustafa Ali, is that why I'm not being added to the SmackDown men's match? Or he could be in a qualification match and loses and then rants about because his name is Mustafa Ali and because of his background, that's why he's not being in the SmackDown. That could be a good storyline for him going forward. Really good storyline. So yeah, and I think I don't know if did I mention what Vaz's picks were for the last two matches?
No, you didn't. You didn't actually tell us for either of the 5-on-5s.
The women's match is going with Raw. He has not given me his TBA edition or who we think will be Sole Survivor. He just said Raw for the women's, and he's going with you SmackDown for the men's side. Also, again, no TBA announcement or who could be Sole Survivor. But yeah, that's basically the 6 matches. This has been for the finale, for the final Major Players of 2021. This has been the shortest Major Players video ever. We're coming in at almost, I'd say, 50 minutes long. So it means it's just me. You're normally the kind of guy who goes all essay on us, like writing giving us a 5,000 word essay, going for 50 to 100 marks. I don't know what happened today. You're very quiet.
Today I won points, Nash. So I purposely didn't think too much, and I let you read it out, and I'm like, my gut is saying this. Instead of going on a tangent and I'm trying to unpack what WWE is potentially going to do, I will get back to normal on day one, going into the next season. But today my focus was get the damn points. Get the damn points. Right.
I hope for your sake that you got the points out there. I really hope for your sake. I know for a fact that I got more points on you when it comes to All Out because you just went and got way wrong card.
I just pick names.
I guess that's the end of the 2021 season Major Players predictions. I know the last 3 videos have not been the best, guys. Crown Jewel was a bust because we all had different scheduling conflicts. Myself and Jeremy made the last one pop a little bit with our roasting of Kyle and Baz right through the entire show. And this one, which Kyle is looking so desperate for points that he's not himself.
So Nash, the next time they see us, It's
Yeah.
going to be one of us doing a solo video, going through the leaderboard, going through the chip. So the next time they see us, it's going to be one of us. So
Actually, that's going to be on the day one, the end of December. I still haven't decided on the date. Probably before or after Christmas. We're going to do the day one predictions video. And at the end of that, Baz is going to announce who won the 2021 season. And I hope it's you eating the chip and not me. But I guess we'll find out when we get there. So, guys, if you like this video, remember to drop us a big like, subscribe to Pro Wrestling Central, you know, share this video, guys. Let's try and get as many people as we can. When we hit the 2022 season of Major Players, we want to see more subscribers, more views, more likes, more shares. Comment down below your predictions for Survivor Series, and we'll see you again next time. I hope it's with all four of us, because this 2-on-2 and 3 and the whole thing where Baz was editing us all together with your 2.5-minute long essays for Crown Jewel, that was not cool. I want to see all four of us get together again when we get for day one in the new year, 2022. We'll see you then, guys. Until next time, I'm going to do it again, Vaz. I'm sorry. I have to do this. Peace and chicken grease.